Hey all, here OS Reviews. Today we're taking a quick look at the Toumei C900. This is a mini DLP Pico smart projector that has built-in Android OS, allowing you to stream content directly on the unit, but you can also wirelessly connect your phone or use HDMI, of course, to connect something like a console or laptop. A little north of $250, so it's decently priced, although you are paying a little bit more of a premium for the compact size combined with the built-in Android OS. It's fair, I'd say, and has the dimensions similar to a soda can, which I do think is really cute. Comes in two colors, black or white, rated to be 150 ANSI lumens, projecting up to 120 inches, and has two 5-watt stereo speakers built on in. One thing I will say though is the technical resolution as far as output quality is around 480p native, which is similar to other pocket Pico projectors we've seen. Thankfully, DLP Pico projectors tend to look better than that rating suggests in person. However, I will still say that I do hope in the future more of these pocket units can start to adopt 720, if not higher native res, but it is what it is at the moment. Now, it does have a dust-proof design. Everything is completely covered, which is good. Has a touchpad on the top, along with a 5,200 milliamp hour capacity battery, which should power this unit for around 3 hours or so of playback time. You can also plug it in, of course, while you are projecting. It has built-in Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, dual band, as well as it's technically using a quad-core processor. We do get a nice protective hard shell case when you're on the go, which is quite neat. And we have, of course, the projector itself, along with accessories such as the charging adapter, which is using a proprietary Barrow plug as opposed to something like micro USB or USB Type-C, which is one thing I do wish they can adopt in the future, along with a built-in remote control that takes two AAA batteries. You even get another Barrow plug to USB cable. We also do have access to a mini tripod as an added extra that allows you to prop it up at additional angles. The main body of the unit is constructed out of a polycarbonate plastic, but as a whole it still feels quite sturdy and very clean looking. All of these grills on the sides is where the surround sound stereo speakers will come out from. The top here, which features the lens, again is covered up by a layer of glass, so there is no dust or smudges which can get accumulated on the main lens, which is good. Now on the very top here is where we have the controls that allows you to navigate up, down, left, and right, and also change volume and turn the unit on or off. On the back here, we have access to I/O, inclusive of a USB Type-A port, so if you plug in a thumb drive, it can read back content on it. Headphone jack, in case you don't want to use the built-in speakers. You can also opt for wireless speakers or headphones using Bluetooth. There's a power adapter, a manual on and off safety switch, full-sized HDMI input, and then you do have a focus dial there on the side. Finally, on the back here, we do have a standard tripod thread mount, which is really great to see. So you can also mount it onto somewhere taller and some soft touch rubber feet that prevents it from sliding around. So overall, again, a pretty simple, but also very clean and attractive design. Here it is as far as the size comparison is concerned, next to a phone that has, let's say, a 6.7-inch display, so you get the idea. This thing is going to be very easy to put into a backpack and take with you when on the go. Now, last but not least, I will mention that the boot up sequence usually takes about 20 seconds or so. Because it is using Android, it takes just a few moments longer, but still is relatively speedy. And there is a small fan at the back here as well to prevent it from overheating, but it's very quiet, as you can hear during operations. And there is also an accelerometer, so as you're tilting the display, it will compensate the keystone to adjust and try and make the screen flat regardless of where you are pointing it at. In this demo, we have a virtual screen size of around 50 inches on the wall, so it's not the largest. Of course, the further that you stretch, the brightness as well as detail will further reduce. Overall, it's not too bad. I would say keeping it at around 100 inches or under would be the ideal recommendation. A little bit of artifacting in the sense that it's not going to be crystal clear compared to, again, a real full 1080p or higher res unit, but again, considering the price point here, not too bad. Edges are still relatively sharp. The top of the unit is backlit, so you can more easily make out the controls when you are in the dark, and it just makes it a little easier to use. Now, as far as the main menu here is concerned, it's also quite simple with time and date settings. You can then connect to Wi-Fi properties and take a look at how much battery is left on the unit. Again, very quiet in terms of navigation, and for the most part, it's quite smooth. Icons here are simple to operate using the 4-way D-pad, a little bit reminiscent of some Android smart TV systems. The first menu on the top here corresponds to Miracast, which allows us to wirelessly send the screen over from an Android device. Here we have actually found the C900. I'm going to tap to mirror and start to share. And after just a split second, as long as you're connected to the same Wi-Fi network, it will be able to push over the content to the display, which is quite neat. And we are able to see things really without too many problems and be able to share things like photos and whatnot to a larger screen. You can tell there is a bit of lag that is dependent on your network speed, but as a whole, it's not going to be the best when it comes to, say, playing back games. But if you are just sharing back a photo or a web page, that'll work really without any problems. You can also pinch in and pinch out, doing still a respectable job as far as, again, magnifying some of those images to share on a larger panel. We can go into the App Store. So this is their Aptoide TV store rather than the standard Google Play Store, but it doesn't require you to log in or authenticate with a Gmail account, and you're able to still download some of the popular content, including YouTube and versions of apps which are optimized to work on a TV using a D-pad for navigation. So all of the essentials, even a handful of games you can find on here, which are going to be more simple to use with a D-pad. Now, by the way, the slight flickering that you see here on screen is due to just the refresh rate of the camera. It's not something that you can see in person, which looks completely normal, and it's a static image. And you still have access to the regular Google Play Store as well. So if you want additional content, including more third-party apps, you can definitely find it on here and install them to your content, just keeping in mind that the hardware is a little bit more on the entry-level side. You can also tap once on the power key at the top, and that will trigger an additional mode, which allowing you to go into a Bluetooth speaker mode. That is, you can turn the projector off and still use it as a Bluetooth speaker to listen to music. Stand out from the crowd. One of the brands in particular that we've seen over the past few weeks has been Unihertz as part of their TikTok series that has a secondary display on the back. Meanwhile, one can argue that foldable form factor. So overall, immediate impressions here being that the speaker quality is actually very good. In fact, it might be one of the best sounding speakers I've heard out of a mini projector yet. It just has surprisingly a bit of depth in terms of bass to it, and it's just very clear without any hints of distortion and gets plenty loud as well. So that is definitely one selling point of this soda can sized portable projector. We'll also jump into settings and point out that things that you can control here include changing different network properties, brightness settings you can also further tweak. Right now we're in the standard mode, but it's also doing all right. You can go into a highlight mode, which will further boost the brightness, or an energy saving mode, which will dampen the quality, but to consume less power. You can rotate the image from different orientations, as you can see there, as well as a video mode here, which can also change the color temperature to be cool, warm, or a custom mode here, which allows you to further tweak the granular controls. The HDMI mode will often get us the highest quality output and the least amount of latency or lag, especially if you're connecting to something like a console for doing a bit of gaming. Primarily, though, it shines most when you're looking back at video content and something which is a little bit more immersive on a bigger panel. Looking, I have to say, quite good and very enjoyable if you're just casting onto a ceiling or a wall, if you are, say, in a dorm or a space that is more limited. And this can, again, give you a more cinematic, larger experience. Very good speakers, I have to say. We're only at about 10% volume right now. If I crank it all the way up, it will be still very full sounding. With that being said, if you really did want to do some quick presentations, although text details are going to be a little soft when cast onto the wall, larger images are still alright. So if you're in a pinch, it can still work, I would say, and this is kind of the quality that you can expect. Alright, so that is more or less it as far as our hands-on review of the Toumei D900 Pocket Pico projector. Again, a soda can size projector, which is really cute, clean looking, and surprisingly quite good in terms of giving you an all-in-one solution. The built-in Android OS is good enough for streaming back video content without much lag, and it has, again, pretty decent quality quality output for the size of the unit. It's nothing mind-blowing if you have tried out larger home cinema projectors, but again, featuring something that is small, it has very powerful sounding speakers combined with passable quality that will still get you immersed when looking at video content, as long as you aren't fixated on tiny details. Overall, still delivers a pretty enjoyable experience. And you can check out more details in the links down below. But for now, that's been our video. Thanks for watching here at OS Reviews.